I'd like to call the special meeting of the Urbana City Council to order. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Ms. Ammons, Mr. Brown,
Here.
Mr. Jacobson,
Here.
Mr. Madigan,
Here.
Ms. Marlin,
Here.
Mr. Roberts, Mr. Smythe,
Here.
Mayor Pressing.
Here. The first item is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. Do we have, would that be the regular meeting or a special meeting?
The minutes for the special meeting from August the 8th
Okay.
has already been approved.
Okay, so we don't need that.
No.
All right. Petitions and communications. Is there anyone who would like to address the Urbana City Council? Okay. We have one item of business, and that's ordinance number 2014-09-081, an ordinance approving a major variance to allow an encroachment of a home addition into a required rear yard in the city's R3 single and two-family residential district at 807 South Cottage Grove Avenue. So who would like to start? Libby?
I would just like to once again introduce Maximilian Mahalik, who is our planning intern and has worked on this case.
Good evening. Thank you. Robert and Betty Swisher are requesting a major variance to build an addition at 807 South Cottage Grove that will encroach 9 feet 11 inches into the required 10-foot rear yard. Now, going to Exhibit A of the memo that you should have and that is on the screen, we can see that 807 South Cottage Grove is located at the northwest corner of Cottage Grove and Washington Street, and it is surrounded by a mix of land uses. To the north, south, and west, we have single-family residences, while to the east, we have commercial lots. Here in Exhibit B, we can see that the subject lot is zoned R3 single and two-family residential, which emphasizes low to medium density development. The lots to the west, north, and south are also zoned R3, while the lots to the east are zoned B1 neighborhood business. Looking at the comprehensive plan, it calls for the subject lot as well as its areas to its north, south, northeast and west to be defined by a residential urban pattern, which emphasizes pedestrian access to business centers. Now on page 2, we have the area to the south of the subject lot, and that is to be defined by a residential suburban pattern, which emphasizes lower density development. Here are some site photos of the subject property. Now, the current home is 1,600 square feet in area. Its FAR is 0.28, while the open space ratio of the lot is 0.72, meeting all requirements. And the space where the addition is planning to go, as you can see here in this bottom photo, is currently occupied by dirt and grass. Now, Exhibit D is the site plan for the proposed addition. Let me zoom out here a little, get a bit oriented. Here we go. Now, as you can see on this site plan, the proposed addition will be 264 square feet, increasing the home square footage to 1,864. It'll increase the subject lot's FAR to 0.33 and reduce its open space ratio to 0.67, all remaining within regulation. Now, the proposed addition will be set back 1 inch from the rear property line. And I'm going to zoom in here so you can take a better look at that. Now, moreover, and perhaps more importantly, it will be set back 1 inch from an existing portion of the original home, which currently runs along that rear property line, and which was built in 1921 and contains the kitchen, or a portion of the kitchen. There will be a 21-foot, 1-inch gap between the roof overhang of the proposed addition and the home that is located in the lot to the west, which is 1006 East Washington Street. This gap is currently occupied by green space and a driveway, and the addition is not expected to create a nuisance for the lot to the west, nor cast a shadow on that home, which, to note, is also owned by the applicants in the current case. Now, Exhibit E contains the architectural sketches and elevations for the proposed project. Going through them, you will see that the elevation is to be accessed by an internal existing sliding door, as well as via a door on its south. It'll be 8 feet tall, contain a block foundation, and be composed of vinyl siding. Moreover, it'll be constructed in an architectural style similar to that of the surrounding residences. And If you haven't had a chance to go through them, I'll just go through them quickly here so you can take a look. Now here's the west elevation with the block foundation, and then here's the south elevation with that external door. Now moving on to the requirements for a major variance. 1, the proposed variance will not serve as a special privilege because the variance requested is necessary due to special circumstances relating to the land or structure involved, or to be used for occupancy thereof, which is not generally applicable to other lands or structures in the same district. The original building, built in 1921, runs along the lot's west property line. The homeowners require additional floor area, and the current layout of the subject property and lot causes the proposed addition to be the option that is the most cost-effective and efficient use of space. 2, the variance requested was not the result of a situation or condition having been knowingly or deliberately created by the petitioner. The current owners of the subject property did not have oversight over the construction of the original home, which encroaches into the required 10-foot rear yard. However, the original design of the home causes the proposed addition to be the most efficient design choice. 3, the variance will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. The proposed addition is designed in an architectural style that is similar to surrounding residences, respecting cohesion amongst homes found in the area. It will also improve the aesthetic value of the subject property, enhancing the overall appearance of the block face along East Washington Street. The proposed addition will enhance the use of the home as a single-family residence as well. 4, the variance will not cause a nuisance to the adjacent property. The petitioners are the owners of the property immediately to the west of the subject property, and the proposed addition is not expected to cast a shadow on the house located to the west, as its roof overhang will be located 21 feet 1 inch away from the roof overhang of the proposed addition. The proposed addition will not create any other type of nuisance nor impact the lot located to the north of the subject property. And lastly, 5, the variance represents the generally the minimum deviation from requirements of the zoning ordinance necessary to accommodate the request. The requested variance represents the minimum amount of space needed by the petitioners to complete the proposed addition. Now, on August 20th, 2014, the Urbana Zoning Board of Appeals voted 4-0 to recommend approval of the proposed variance with 2 conditions. 1, that the proposed addition be built in conformance with the plans provided by the applicant. The zoning administrator shall be able to approve minor changes to the building and site plans to ensure compliance with the Urbana zoning ordinance or other applicable codes. And 2, a drainage easement must be obtained from the lot adjacent to the west, which is home to 1006 East Washington Street, in order to accommodate drainage along the west elevation of the proposed addition. City staff agree with these recommendations. The City Council has the following options in this case. A, recommend approval of the major variance as requested. B, recommend approval of the variance as requested along with certain terms and conditions. If you add conditions, I ask that you articulate them. And C, deny the variance as requested. If you opt to do so, I ask that you articulate findings to support its denial. Thank you. Oh, and the applicants are here if you have any questions.
Any questions? Diane?
I read, I believe it was in the notes from the ZBA process, that no windows are allowed in this addition. Is it just on the west side? So the only window in this thing is this little one by the door?
Yes, that was actually heard by the Building Code Board of Appeals, and that was actually approved due to the circumstances in this case. So the windows will be allowed on the south and west elevation.
Oh, so they did allow the windows. Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Charlie?
Move approval. Second.
Motion by Smythe, seconded by Jacobson. Any other discussion? Would the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Jacobson?
Yes.
Mr. Madigan?
Yes.
Ms. Marlin?
Yes.
Mr. Smythe?
Yes.
That motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. There being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.